criminal code is very clear in that regard. The Constitution is also very clear in Section 2 that Nigeria is indivisible and indissoluble. And yet we have some people coming forward saying they want to dissolve the Nigerian nation. In Oyo State Secretariat, they tried to take over the government, led by a certain Mrs. Abiola or Miss Abiola Onitiri, whatever the name is. So what do you think? Do you think that the objective of Yorubas should be secession from Nigeria? Even Sunday Igboho has said no. Professor Banji Akintoye has said no. That in fact these people are not known to them, that they are hoodlums. But there are some people who say, well, they are secessionists. Where is this coming from as a Yoruba elder statesman?
Now, thank you very much, Ruben. I wish our nation well. You know, when one of my political sons in Oyo State sent the clip to me, I thought it was in Nollywood. But when I now listened to the comments made by the lady who was all dressed in white and talking, I knew something terribly had gone amiss. You know, I see it as part of the teaching of civics and history in schools. You just don't go arrange for people to take arms against your government. It is treason. And the way they were even lucky that they called the Amotekun first before the police arrived. If it had been people from my old profession, they would have seen them as enemies and they would have fired at them. I was completely very angry because that is not the way you talk. It's your government. Government of the people, by the people, for the people. The lady too who was talking, she says she's Mrs. Abiola and Onitiri. These are resounding, well-known names in the western part of this country. So what could have driven them to that level? You are not in the country. You are telling them that you are declaring the kingdom of Yoruba or something. I thought it was like a joke. It's a bad dream. Naturally, yes, the Attorney General of the Federation is from Oyo State. The President of Nigeria today is also from the Southwest. So what on the globe would have driven them to that? My conclusion is that maybe they are not that educated. But when you listen to them, and I know the Onitiri family very well. I think the second son of the former politician, Papa, was my classmate in secondary school. I know their family very well. So listening to that and hearing what she's saying, Kadan kadao, suru. You don't take up arms against your nation. Let her now come back home. Because these guys that have been arrested, they are going to be treated like, well, we pray for them, but it's unimaginable. I said, what? You brought guns? They were there with charms? Are they dreaming? It's unacceptable. It's the highest breaking of the law of the land. You can talk, you have that freedom of speech, you can express your opinion, and we have been doing that. That's the most sensible way to approach this problem. Everybody, including me, I know as a matter of fact that the constitution we are running is not working. It's more like a defined paperwork for a military organization. Why should everybody head to Abuja every month to collect their lages? It's not working. What has the president got to do with my local government here, or with the local government in Sokoto, or the local government in Bayelsa? No, nothing. Politics is local. And we want to see that the restructuring, everybody's been talking about it, is what the path we should take. But to start taking arms and now shooting people, it's a modern day Robin Hood. It's insanity. And I want to plead with everybody. Well, the investigation will go on. They must get to the end of it. What surprised me is the fact that this thing didn't leak to our intelligence department of this nation. They went, they carried their weapons, they were there in military uniform, nobody stopped them on the road. And you see the urgent need now for state police. Because they couldn't have been meeting somewhere, no matter where. If we are well organized, like the state police, the SSS, they would have picked that and then come to terms and prevent it. But now they have carried it, they've gone beyond that. I don't know where they are going to be arraigned, but for real, it is treasonable. And the consequences for treasonable offenses is very damning.
No,
Very damning.
For treason.
Was it?
For treason, the criminal code says
treason?
death.
Yeah, it is treason.
For treasonable felony, under sections 37 to 41 of the criminal code, the law says life imprisonment.
Could this have happened where a group of people would be emboldened enough to wear uniform and approach the government secretariat in a state, and were able to make that, get to that point where they got to before they were accosted by local, by the Amotekun, and then the police, the army, the police got involved? It is mind-boggling, because at what point should they have been stopped, or could they have been stopped? Does it mean that any group of people who had access to things can just decide to walk into the secretariat and make at least some form of headway before being apprehended? That's one. The second thing I wanted to ask is dry. What they've termed it, according to Mrs. Modupe Onitiri Abiola, who in that video self-proclaimed herself as a widow of Chief MK Abiola and talked about the fact that they had been given authority by God to set up the Yoruba nation. What antecedents has she had? Has she had conversations with anyone? I mean, Dr. Mati had mentioned Chief Sunday Igboho, Professor Akintoye have denied and just said they are not in that camp. Which kind of formation, or where did this formation come from? Were there any conversations heard? Were there whispers at all amongst the Yoruba community or community of elder statesmen like yourself?
Thank you very much for your exposé. You know, what happened is a confirmation that we are, you know, in terms of policing, in terms of intelligence gathering, the personnel so far, there's a shortage. What is the total population of the Nigerian police? What is the total population of the intelligence department at the national and at the states? Every political discussion is local. The need to establish very urgently state police, this is it. Because the state police will be people drawn from the area. They know the culture, they know the norms, they know the do's and don'ts in the area, and information gathering would be much faster. You can see how on the globe, with all the weapons they collected, where did they get them from? Look at the number of cutlasses in their vehicles. Where did they come from? But now, I'm sure they will be going through interrogation. There was even a young lady who was part of them. And the woman who was talking, like I said, I know the Onitiri family very well. In fact, the second son of the head of the Onitiri group was my classmate. And so when she said she's an Onitiri, I said, this is a household name in Lagos. And that she's married to Abiola. What a combination. So what on the globe, what if she thoroughly believes in this concept of the operation, she should head home. We must find out to the depth who organized this. And until the 8th hour, when they now got there, started shooting with their flags, that arrested the attention of the public. Something is amiss. Something is amiss. So, first of all, you know, when I was, and I'm almost 80 now, when we were in primary school, there was the teaching of civics, your responsibilities to your nation, and the responsibilities of the nation to yourself as an individual and to your general area. We learn basic things. But now, I don't know whether they teach civics and they don't, I'm sure they don't teach civics, they don't teach history. So how would these young men, you know, be able to sensibly handle such discussions? And it didn't leak to the government until the 8th hour. Something is really amiss.
Okay, sir.
It is amiss. So
okay.
We need to revisit ourselves as a country, revisit the programs you have for these children. If they had been taught the history, they would have known the consequences. When we had the crisis in Yoruba land, you remember the old fight between Baba Ulowo and Baba Kitola?
Wait here.
The birth of the Agbekoyas and all that. Wait here period, yes.
Wait here, yeah.
That's what is going on?
So
and I want to advise, Mr. President, just let them wake up. These things are meant, if you have had that as part of the curriculum for education, probably they will not be convinced to carry arms when you are not licensed to do it.
Okay, sir. But the truth has to be said, sir.
Yeah.
I think you made a very important point, and that's going to be the first thrust of my question. The fact that we're not even ready to talk about our past. You're talking about history, and I laughed because history was taken out of our curriculum for so many years. I remember the film on Biafra, Half of a Yellow Sun, how the film went through the census board, and most parts of it was censored. So we're not even ready to talk about our past. How do we move to the future? That's number one. So here's the problem about education. But secondly, the question I want to ask that is really shocking here is, why is it that everybody is so quick? Anybody that needs fame or fortune of some sort is so quick to quickly latch onto this bandwagon of secessionism. And it's not today we started it. We remember the case of a certain university student or a university leaver named Henry Adakaboro that had something called the 7-day, insurrection where he tried to secede from the country, the Niger Delta Republic. We also remember how it has now become a fashionable thing. In the times where people were fighting the Abacha administration in the trenches, we had the likes of some people bring banner for Oduduwa Republic. Return to democracy, it was the time of the Ralph Wazurike. And now we have Nnamdi Kanu and all of that. So why is it that it's so easy? Anyway, Sunday Igboho too has dissociated himself from this, as he's not part of this, and but he said, why is it so easy for everybody just to say, oh, we want to go on this bandwagon? Because what I see in the end is that after they do on this bandwagon, they become very famous, they become have a mass following, and it gets a lot of benefits for them. So why do we have a society that is so easy to latch onto this? Because it's now become the new hustle. All of a sudden, we now know Anonitiri Abiola. It's now public glare now. So why do we have this?
You know, why? Thank you for that question. You know, I don't know what the government thinks is doing about educating the society. Teach them, explain to them. History is a subject that educates and strengthens your knowledge about your relationship with your other fellow Nigerians. There is nothing that is happening now that didn't happen before. People would have thought, oh, what were the consequences? These are the things the teachers would have taught them in the class. So, education, in-depth analysis of what happened in the past so that we can avoid them for the future. That's the most beneficial part of history. So, I am shocked. Maybe they were misinformed when they were trying to recruit them, and they just thought, yeah, we go and fight. Fight for what? All the elders. Now, it's not only in the south,
But Chief,
but you have this agitation.
Chief,
All right? In the north now, I have seen so many of the younger generation
Chief.
who are now widely educated,
Chief,
and they are saying that this structure we are running is not working.
Chief,
Because it's not working, what are you going to do, Mr. President?
Chief, I guess.
It's on your table.
Chief, I guess.
Call,
Chief, if you
let's
can hear me.
revisit it. I know for real, if we execute those prayers there,
Chief
this
George?
nation will be better.
Chief George, if you
I
can.
know that because I was part of it.
Chief George, if you can hear me. Not the Yoruba elders who
Yes.
caused this problem. That was my question. That when you say things, Yoruba in the irredentism, we are defending Yoruba interests, you don't know how it would play out.
You know, that is not fully correct. Nobody in life requested from the Almighty God when you are being born that I want to be a Yoruba man, I want to be a Fulani man, I want to be a Chinese man, and I want to be this, I want to be that. It just popped out from your mother's stomach. So, the goodness of life, that you treat your neighbor as yourself. What you would not like to be done to you, don't do it to any other human being. That is my own concept of existence. Yes, if we see that things are not going on right, and there is no justice, fairness, and equity in the land, you must say it out. Talk about it. Let them look at it. Okay, what is the Afenifere in Yoruba land? You have the Jo group, you have the Igbo group, you also have the Hausa Fulani group, the Arewa Consultative Forum, or Northern Elders Forum. So it is for the benefit of the people you are agitating. And that conference we went, who was there. Discussions went openly. We stated our reasons. And I just gave you an example. Lagos has only 20 local governments, the most populated state in this country. And not only that, we are the largest electoral state in Nigeria. When they go to Abuja at the end of the month, the contribution you get, your allocation, is for 20 local governments. Now, I said, take Ogun State next door. They also collect for 20 local governments. Kanu collects 44 for their own local government. Why should it be that it is a federated, the national government that has that listed in our constitution? Should the local government activities be the responsibility of the villa? No. It should be the government of that state. If you like, create 100 local government. That will be your responsibility to cater for them.
Right.
And look at what they do in the United States that we copy. Every county, in every state, you have some that can afford to have a bicameral, the Senate and the Assembly. There are certain states, they don't have enough money, they can only handle one of the chambers. Take California, the 6th largest economy in the world.
All right, sir.
Compared with the smallest state in America, state of Maine. They don't run the same things.
All right.
What you can do, the way I always tell them, is cut your coat